Good morning and welcome to this regional gas market development workshop. My name is Mika Myötyri and I'm working as a gas market specialist at Gasgrid Finland, and I'm acting as a moderator in this workshop. A couple of weeks ago we had a market design webinar where the concept models of market integration was introduced, and we heard very interesting case examples from European gas markets where the market integration was already implemented. In the market design webinar, the presentations gave overview about the opinions options and ways to integrate gas markets. And if you weren't able to participate in that webinar, you will find the recording from our webpage. But today, in this regional gas market development workshop, the TSOs of Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and Finland, Ambergrid, Connexus Baltic Grid, Elering, and Gasgrid Finland warmly welcomes you to this workshop. And the objective of this webinar and workshop is to share the concept models of market integration and present the TSOs study results regarding flow scenarios. The objective of regional market integration is to develop well-functioning, supply-secure, reliable, cost-effective, compliant, transparent, and non-discriminatory Finnish-Baltic gas market with effective management and services that meet the market participants' requirements. And today we will have a presentation about market participant experiences from operating in all three market areas: Finnish market area, Estonian, Latvian market area, and Lithuanian market area. And the presentation will be given by Marko Alliksson from Baltic Energy Partners. Then the concepts of common tariff zone and balancing zone will be presented by Dr. Leena Sivil, and she will also present the TSO's study results regarding the flow models. In the invitation we sent you, there was a link to the study alternative market designs for the Baltic Finnish regional gas market, and this study is now, the key results of this study is now presented for you. I would like to mention some practicalities, and we will have a short coffee break in the middle of this 2-hour session. And this workshop is now interactive, so you are able to provide your comments during the session using microphones, or ask your questions through chat box, which can be found using this webinar platform. And we have booked time for questions and discussion, so I highly encourage you to ask questions if you have something on your mind. And also during this session, some polls will be organized, so you can give your input. But regarding these polls, I would ask only market participants to answer them, because we see very important that we give the opinions and views specifically from the market participants operating in the region. Regarding the data protection, as mentioned in the invitation, your participation will be seen by other participants in this webinar, so be informed about that. Okay, next I would like to give the floor for our TSO colleagues. Please, can you briefly introduce yourself and share your expectations for this workshop? We could start from south and continue up north. So, Ambergrid, you could start.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Vytautas Ruolia from Lithuanian gas TSO, Ambergrid. And we are happy about this initiative of making this market dialogue and present the analysis we have done together. And the core of this process is that TSOs, they are making certain investments. They provide capacity and new capacity, and in case of Lithuania, so for a while there is access to LNG terminal and this possibility to transit through our network. Also, we are in the process to finish the project of gas interconnection with Poland, which will open the gates to other market areas and provide lots of opportunities. And it's always a question how to provide our services in the best manner that suits the market needs, which are also changing. And from our side, we have certain considerations how we can enhance the quality and amend the way we provide our services. But that's our understanding, and it's very instrumental to have also a certain guidance from the market players themselves, and therefore we really look forward to get your active participation in this webinar, in succeeding webinar, and also in written market survey, which should follow these events, and then to have information from you. What's the most important for you? What should be priorities from our side? Where should we focus and start things, certain things as soon as possible, and which things we can postpone and not to allocate big resources. And also using opportunity, I would like to promote the other market survey we'll do with our colleagues from Gas System, Polish TSO. So next week we will launch written market survey for the access conditions for gas interconnection Poland-Lithuania, GIPL, as the services, when it will be started in 2022, they also could be later on modified to meet the specific needs of our region. So most of you, it will reach through various channels the request to respond to our questionnaire, and then please be active as much as you can. Thank you. I wish a good time in this event, and I pass the word back to Mika.
Thank you, Vytautas. We can continue to Latvia and then Estonian and finally to Finland.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Actually, I have a little problem with this application. I don't see who else is from Connexus here, so I will take the initiative. First of all, Mika, it's nice to see you again. Haven't seen you for a long time. And our expectations from this meeting would be actually similar to the Lithuania, that we would like to hear what is the need of the market, and well, mostly because we would like to make the zone, make the conditions for joining the zone easier for everyone, and that we would make the zone in a way, common balancing zone in a way that it benefits for everyone. So we would not stumble upon some problems. Well, that would be in short what we expect from this meeting.
Erkki, we cannot hear you.
Hello, I hope you hear me now. I had to push another button.
Yes.
Good morning. Thank you everybody for participating. My name is Erkki Sapp and I'm head of Energy Market Department in Elering. And so a couple of introductory remarks from our side. First of all, I fully agree what has been said by Ambergrid and Connexus. So from our point of view, we have made some important progress in the gas market development in the past, from starting with the opening of national markets and ending with the integration of Estonia-Latvia balancing zone and the very unique setup of common tariff zone in Finland, Estonia, and Latvia. So the gas market is quite unrecognizable from the beginning. So, however, while the progress is clear, the job is far from complete. Now that we have some 10 or so months of experience with the new regional setup, it is, in our opinion, a good time to evaluate the experience and set up new priorities for the regional gas market development. And this is something we hope to achieve with these webinars and the following public consultation. We believe that TSOs have laid some good groundwork for the future work with several assessments, which we will be presenting in this and upcoming webinar. So we plan to introduce some options and hope to get market feedback to these options in order to set priorities. And our hope is to further improve the market towards an even more competitive and supply secure future. That would be all from my side for the start. Thank you.
And I guess then it's up to me to finalize. Hello, everyone. I'm Anni Sarvaranta, heading the Strategy and Market Development Unit at Gasgrid Finland. I'm happy to have all of you here in our workshop. To sum it up, agree with colleagues from the Baltic states. From Gasgrid point of view, our main goal in market development is to do the development in a customer-centric manner, do it cost efficiently, and also increase transparency all the way. As colleagues have said, a lot has been achieved, but we still see there's a lot of more development activities to be done, and there we will need your support. So have an open mind, keep the dialogue going throughout this workshop, ask questions, ask even critical questions, and help us improve the market according to your needs. Thank you, everyone, and welcome.
Thank you very much, colleagues. We can continue to our next agenda point, which is shippers' experiences from operating in 3 market areas. And the presentation will be given by Marko Alliksson from Baltic Energy Partners. And Marko, the floor is yours. Just a moment, I will give you access to share your presentation.
So, is it? Am I visible show my screen. Okay. Can you see me? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yes, I was asked to make a short presentation of how do we see how the markets have been working, and also what do we expect from the future. And I was actually having just several discussions also with our colleagues, and just to try to understand if the feelings are the same. So I'm starting now on this. All in all, in daily matters, we could say that the natural gas wholesale markets function relatively well. So we could say that there's practically no big daily issues, and specifically I'd like to point out that nomination capacity platforms, they are performing well, and there has been major improvements really during this last year in these systems. And also there's a very professional and quick support from the TSOs if there's any issues. So I think we have a very good kind of infrastructure already during this year. Secondly, also the market information generally is quite easily available. All data, now also Imatra data is available at ENSO G, and I would say maybe there are some issues in data availability with RSS feeds because they are not seem to be working always, and also there are some different UMM platforms, which is a bit weird. That there is this Get Baltic UMM platform, then there is Elering having its own, then there is Connexus having its own. So kind of ideally we would definitely see that they would be in one place at some point of time, and hopefully somebody thinks about it because it's kind of would be easier to collect information which is necessary to make decisions in the market. And also I'd like to kind of bring out a very good attempt to communicate very early the restrictions of 2021 already in the summer, because this information is being used for making decisions regarding next year. And I guess the important point really here is that any changes are not actually really welcome. So anything that has been announced, I think market participants are taking seriously, and so hopefully they will also keep. But yeah, this is what is. Let me see. Somebody said to me, is my screen well visible? Can you see it in a good way? Any feedback?
We can see your. We can see your.
Yeah, if you could change. Yeah, please pick up.
Yeah. Yes.
We can see your kind of not the presenter mode. We can see the duplicates. Probably the other screen now. So.
Yeah. Let's see. It's duplicate. Presenter view. Okay, it's better now.
Great. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, because I have several screens in front of me, so that's why it's probably duplicated immediately. Okay. Now it's not all. I think the major issue in the market what we have faced during this year is at least from the participant or shipper perspective, is kind of transparency and communication of everything around the capacities. And yeah, I tried to divide them into 4 different buckets, and some of them are bigger issues, some of them are lesser issues, but they're somehow all connected to the capacities. First one is, of course, maybe Baltic connector capacity and its communication. I guess there's no trader around the table who does not know that 2 days ago, again, the capacity for December and January was changed, and taking into consideration that 2 months ago, I guess everybody was planning a bit more sales to Finland for December and January. And the winter is a high gas consumption time, and probably the gas is needed actually in Finland at that point of time. not from traders' perspective only, but also the Finnish gas consumers' perspective, and it makes very hard to make reasonable plans in the market if the capacities change like that up and down. It would even be easier if the capacities even change always up, so that we kind of have a worst case scenario always up there, and then they go up when TSOs really think that there's more capacity. But unfortunately, capacity increase and then decrease afterwards. I would say that this is actually kind of a worst type of news, because it makes really difficult to make any plans. And I guess everybody knows here that, you know, it's when you nominate 100% of the Baltic connector, you get something like 8% with something of the volume. So it matters a lot if you get 40% more or less. So it has an effect, and I guess from the traders' perspective, it is not going very well with this. So this is something where some kind of thought put into would give good results in terms of communication to the market, or explanation to the market at least. Why is it so, and is that something we have to count in with every changes in the UMMs, or is that somehow one-time effect? Second thing what I wanted to bring up is also related to this latest month. I mean, October. If you look at the Luhamaa and Värska closure period, it was 25th to 29th October here, and it was really communicated differently by Connexus and Elering, and because from Elering there was like no information about closure at all in the beginning of October. From Connexus there was information of the closure, and then later, of course, the communication was somehow coordinated, or at least we got the same information from the TSOs. But I think the trader expectation towards the information on the capacities of the TSOs is always that TSOs are the ones who know we have to make decisions based on what TSOs are telling to us, and normally, like for example this October situation, where one TSO showing that there is a capacity where in fact there is not. It's difficult to understand for a market player, because who else says that you can import in the, let's say, Estonian or Latvian border if it's not the TSO, and specifically because this change was not caused really by Gazprom, as I understand, but rather a local regional grid company. So and who should communicate with grid companies? It's not traders. It should be TSOs, and therefore also the information from the TSOs to the traders should somehow at least be unified to avoid kind of a mixed messages. So I wanted to bring this up, and it's related to the capacities. Third kind of bucket of issues is related to this first come first served, and of course it took a bit of time in the summer to learn it, how important this is, and I would say in June there was a clearly case where probably the information that was coming to related to the Luhamaa, for example, was to the market was confusing. We got in a daytime information that from next morning there will be capacities up in the system, and suddenly the capacities were up in the system already during the daytime, and always when something this kind of happens, then you start thinking, oh, is it useful for somebody? Is it favoring somebody else? Anyway, it doesn't feel fair. Maybe it was just a mistake. Maybe it was just happened like that. But I guess the general feeling what you get in the market is that it doesn't seem to be fair and transparent, and the communication is such an important part of this thing. So on the other hand, I still must say that this first come first served in the border seems to be the best of the bad choices, because because always when we are dealing with some kind of capacities where there's scarcity, and when there's at least some rule that you have to follow, and the rule here is that to be very quick, try to be the quickest one in the market, and the fastest comes get the capacity. Okay, it's understood. So we know at least what to deal with if you want to get the capacity. So again, there has been some discussions maybe to change those. At least I would urge not to change those. At least we have learned now that we have to be very quick, and okay, these are the rules. It's not very good, but what to do if there's a scarcity of capacity in the market. Also, fourth, yeah, is that a question?
Marko, Kimmo Siira has raised the hand, so
yeah. Where do I see those hands? Okay, yeah, I see something.
Kimmo, do you have a question on your mind, or do you want to comment?
Okay.
Okay, we can.
Yeah, we can go on.
Maybe
yes.
He will ask it later.
Insukans also. I guess the Insukans injection capacities, they were also going during the summer up and down. Here the good thing really is that we saw them mostly going up, and there was communicated to the market kind of a minimum scenario. And I would say this is a good way of communicating it, because at least everybody can make their, let's say, minimum plans, and then based on the short-term changes, if it increases, okay, maybe I can, do something more. But anyway, it still gets a feeling that we should get a bit more information why those changes happen and why exactly this kind of changes. So I think something there is missing regarding the communication. So yeah. So all in all, around the transparency, the communication around the capacities, and maybe the kind of coordination between the TSOs in communicating these things or planning those things, I think that seems to be the very key for the wholesale market to be able to kind of function well and have no issues at the market. So that I wanted to bring up. Now, I would like to also shortly go through some of the specific other issues, what we have seen. Finnish market. There are three kind of points I wanted to point out, which maybe are a bit unfamiliar, at least to the Baltics players. And first one is there is a issue around reserve fuel handling, or kind of compulsory stock, or how is it called really. There's a mandatory task to keep compulsory stocks with certain consumers in Finland, and somehow in any seminar or any event, this is never a topic. It's somehow like a side issue, but in fact it's mandatory in Finland, as we understand. And what makes it cumbersome is that the regulation as such is not too surprising. I guess every country here has kind of certain gas consumers to whom there has to be kept some kind of stock or reserves. And normally it's organized that TSO is keeping those, and maybe they are making a tender where market players can make bids to keep reserves for the TSOs, for example. But anyway, it's handled by the TSO. It's not handled by the market players, first of all. And secondly, in the region, at least for the gas, there's a very large storage which is in Sukanes, and of course, at least one would assume that also in Finland it would be possible that actually, instead of market players taking care of the obligation, it's maybe TSO organizing auctions or somehow the sourcing for such a reserve fuel, and also the Insukans could be part of the solution to keep it. So I wanted to bring this up because it's normally not a topic in the seminars, but it seems to be part of the Finnish market, and we have to count with that. Secondly, consumption data from the distribution grids. So this is a point I've shown before in similar meetings, but information from the TSOs is coming quite late for the market, and that means that the balance providers and shippers are not able to make so good prognosis for their balances in Finland as they are able actually at least to do in the Baltics. And however, the balancing pricing now is almost the same, and therefore, let's say the penalties are the same, but the tools are not the same. So it would be fair to have at least the same tools. And the third thing around the unflexibility of the collateral system, and the collateral system is always important when there are big changes in the portfolios. And normally, let's say starting of the new year, that brings the big changes in the portfolios. So it's important to have, let's say, Nord Pool-like or somehow more flexible collateral systems. What I understand that Gasgrid has taken as a task to deal with, but we have never heard of any progress on that. So hopefully there will be some news on that also. Then the retail market. In fact, in our understanding, today the retail market is open only in Estonia, and we urge that others could follow the lead because there's really nothing to fear. I mean, in Latvia, the household customers have regulated prices. In Lithuania, it's the same thing. Also, the LNG is actually supported with a discounted capacity fee, and that pushes away the other sources. And also, of course, I mean, in Lithuania, being out of the Estonian, Latvian, and Finnish exit entry area, I mean, it's very often a barrier of trade. On the top of that, there's a lot of reporting in the Lithuania still. So, but we find very difficult for a normal gas retailer to operate. So doesn't seem to be a very interesting market from outsider view until some of those issues are solved. And of course, Finland, I mean, the market is not really prepared for retail level competition, and such small things like need to at least obtain a metering device at customer cost, or data exchange, as I just told, is quite late, 2 days after the fact. The security stock obligation. So there are things which make the, let's say, simple retailing quite difficult in Finland, and the market is not very attractive around that. And yeah,
quick question.
Yeah,
that's Gediminas from Achema from Lithuania. You mentioned there is a discount on the LNG entry into Lithuania. So yes, it is, but you don't consider that there is a regas fee, which is 35 cents, and also there is a, how to say, the boil-off gas expenses or cost. So that makes even more expensive than importing through the eastern border. So that's not pushing away, that's actually making even on the same level as other entries.
Yes, I mean, it depends on how to calculate this. I agree, and it depends also what type of capacities you have and what type of customers you have. So there are pluses and minuses around that. This is not the biggest issue anymore. There are more other issues around that. I mean, if that would be the single thing, maybe the Lithuania would not be bad. Insurance, I guess now looking a bit to the next year, I mean, everybody understands that insurance new rules and tariffs will change the kind of regional gas market dynamics next year. And what we see that so far we have had some kind of a trader's heaven, basically, where there's a summer-winter spread minus 0.7 euros per megawatt hour is a potential profit for everyone, and also everyone can participate in that and get a share. And now in the future, what we will have is more like a storage owners have, where auction will take away the seasonal spread, and only, you know, the competition really will be at the cost of financing, and the cost of financing is always cheaper for larger players. So I think what we at least expect from the market is that all these excess funds what potentially are created in the Inčukalns, they will also be used to remove any bottlenecks in the Inčukalns capacity. Maybe the size of Inčukalns could be bigger, maybe the injection rates could be higher, or withdrawal rates could be higher, I mean, in the future. So I think if the money is used well for that function, it kind of seems fair for the market. But potentially, probably, the money will be used in kind of short-term changes of the domestic tariffs. So, of course, I'm not Latvian, and that's why it's easier for me to say like that. But still, at least from the total market functioning perspective, it's quite important that at least part of the excess cash, what will be created from that, would be invested to the Inčukalns itself. Some more questions for the next year. I think one of the very big questions is that, can we now trust this Baltic Connector new plan or capacity plan, and when it will actually start be providing kind of in a stable manner all this capacity at the maximum, because it's a bit unclear, of course, to the market what happens where it seems that, you know, in 2 months there will be more capacity, then it seems there will not be more capacity, then it's already winter. I mean, easily we could be in this situation 1 year from now. Or is there actually a hope that everything will be changing? I guess there is not enough information on the market about that to really make educated decisions about the situation around the Baltic Connector. So the question is how much we can actually trust on those capacities promised today. Second thing is around the green certificate market. Also, we have understood that there will be some registers systems ready next year. The certificate market could already start functioning cross-border. So hopefully it is like that. So at least we have tried to get some certificates from Estonia to Finland and not succeeded so far. So if there's somebody succeeding, let us know. Then it seems that it's still possible, but to me it doesn't seem possible today. And hopefully there will be clear communication in the market how and when exactly we can do such things. And also the retail markets competition for the next year. So it will be very interesting to follow if some of those complexities around the retail market will be solved, because the wholesale market seems to have started to function quite well. The capacity issues, yes, we have those. It's more of a communication issue, but the retail market, it's still not there, and there's a way to go. And then that's actually most of my presentation. I had just one more slide because we received this scenario analysis, and I wanted to just point out one thing in this scenario analysis. And this is a picture of the TTF month ahead index and the LNG prices in Europe, LNG landing prices. And for some reason, there was 3 price scenarios in this analysis, but I kind of missed the analysis Russia low and alternatives high, because what we can see here is that there are different periods in the market. There are periods when LNG will be higher priced than, let's say, European gas normally, and there are periods when LNG is lower priced and very competitive. And as you can see, those periods are, you know, coming and going. So if there is an alternative there, Russia high and alternatives low, I think you should also try to analyze the Russia high and alternatives Russia low and alternatives high scenario. So this is something I just wanted to bring out as a feedback on the report what I read. Yeah, I guess that's most of my presentation. So if I can answer to any questions, or how should it go from here?
Thank you very much, Marko. Next we will have a poll for market participants, and this is appointed only for market participants, for network users, shippers, traders, transmission system end users, and retailers. So I will share you a poll, and please give your input to the following points. I will give a 30 seconds time to answer. Just a moment. I will combine the answers together, and we can check the results a bit later, as we will continue the agenda after the polls. So 5 seconds more time to reply. Thank you. And the next question is on. Five seconds. Thank you very much. Now we could continue to the next agenda point, which is a presentation from Leena Sibyl, and I will give the floor directly for Leena. So stage is yours.
Before, sorry Mika to interrupt, I know we're maybe a little too short time here, but I think a question has been sent from Helen, at least towards the panelists and the TSOs of transparency, and how the TSOs self-see, in our own words, how we have succeeded in these transparency goals so far. I could shortly comment from Gasgrid point of view to this topic. Good question, and at least from our side, that's something that we really try to improve all the time. So from the beginning, we have to prioritize, for example, getting these IMATRA transparency obligations done, working on those, then trying to work and create and develop our services together with the customers through these customer stakeholder forums, openness about that. Then at the summertime, the messages from the market regarding longer term capacities and joint coordination on maintenance, we provided that, and now we see that there is really even more need, especially from Baltic connector capacity side, to have even a better transparency. So I think we are really trying to listen to the market, and every time we get the message, we try to improve something we do. And now these workshops, for example, try to involve more market participants in developing and prioritizing the development tasks. So it's not perfect yet, but at least in Gasgrid new strategy, this transparency has been set as a key goal. We want to be the most transparent TSO in whole of Europe. So that's a really good and tough goal, but we will start working even more hard towards this also during next year. So that's a short comment for this question.
Okay, any other comments from the other TSOs? Okay, if not, I guess it's my turn. So I'm Leena Sivil, giving you a presentation about the alternative market models and their implications on gas supply costs. And thank you, Mika, and thank you, Marco, for the informative presentation. And thank you all for joining this workshop. I'm sure that we can all agree that there are many opportunities to go forward with market development. As introduced in the beginning of this workshop, the TSOs have jointly carried out studies that are now ready to be published for discussion. In this workshop, we focus on one specific area, the implications of alternative market designs on gas supply costs in the Baltic-Finnish market region. The purpose of this is twofold. Firstly, the TSOs would like to hear your opinions on the potential market development goals, and secondly, the TSOs would like to hear your opinions on how these goals should be scheduled. So we begin with an explanation as to why it's necessary to reopen the discussion on alternative market designs. We continue to how alternative market designs were defined in this particular study and discuss the approach, and finally go through the results and conclusions, after which there are more questions for you to answer. You're welcome to ask any questions throughout the whole presentation using the chat box, and I hope, Mika, that you will announce me when it's time to respond to those questions. You can also direct the questions to any of the TSOs during the presentation. And the full report for the results presented here, they are available in the link below, and also, as Mika mentioned, in your emails. The reason for opening up discussion on alternative market designs is that there was a lack of prior studies that would have entailed Baltic Connector, Hamina LNG terminal, GIPO, and the planned increases in the capacities of Karksi and Kiemenai. So there will be changes in the capacities in 2024. And since there are 4 countries involved and several alternative import and export routes to each country, it is a relevant question how supply reliability can be maintained in each transmission network if shippers are allowed to transport gas between the countries without constraints. The results presented today will demonstrate you this in a very simple way. So at first, I will introduce you the alternative market designs and how they have been addressed in the current study. First, a common balancing area refers to a market model where all the 4 countries form a single balancing zone. Shippers are allowed to transport any volume of gas between the countries. There is no capacity allocation and no tariffs in the cross-border points between the countries. But since physical constraints still exist in the cross-border points and each network has to maintain its supply reliability, the TSOs have to use locational balancing products. This means that whenever there's a bottleneck in the system, the TSOs purchase gas on one side of the system and sell the same volume on the other side to compensate for the gas that was not transported. From this, it follows that there's a cost to locational balancing, and these costs are socialized between all shippers, regardless of who originally caused the congestion. The second model is a so-called common tariff area. It means that the tariffs between the countries are set to 0, while the countries remain as separate balancing zones. The physical transportation capacities between the countries are not allowed to be exceeded, and this is secured with the use of capacity allocation mechanisms in the cross-border points. And the third model represents the current market model. This is presented here only for illustration. In this study, we haven't included any assessment of the transition costs from one model to another. Estonia and Latvia already apply a full market merger. This entails a common balancing zone between the 2 countries and, in addition to this, joint transmission rules and capacity booking platform. Furthermore, Estonia, Latvia and Finland already form a common tariff area, while Lithuania still remains separate. I will next show you 3 tables summarizing the main similarities and differences between the models from the viewpoint of the market parties. From a shippers or balance responsible parties perspective, there are differences in the models in the number of balancing areas and requirements for capacity booking. While a common tariff area is easy to set up, the common balancing area requires much more changes to market rules, contracts, IT, and information exchange. Both models lead to gas market price convergence in the region, provided that there's no congestion. But as we have already witnessed, these situations may well occur. In a common tariff area, the market prices would diverge as a result of congestion, whereas in a common balancing zone, the additional cost of locational balancing would be shared between all the shippers. From the perspective of the end users, it's rather irrelevant which of the 2 models you choose if there's no congestion. If there is congestion, the common tariff area will lead to price divergence, meaning that the prices will increase in the countries with limited access to the cheapest import routes. In a common balancing area, the prices will remain converged, but become equally higher in all countries to compensate for the congestion. From the TSO and system perspectives, it's either 1 or 3 commercial systems to balance, while in both cases there are 4 physical networks to be maintained supply reliable. A common balancing area is more costly to establish since it requires a joint market area management and major changes to current market rules, contracts, IT, and information exchange. Both models require an agreement on the inter-TSO compensation mechanism between the TSOs. To summarize, physical transportation constraints inside the market region affect the total gas supply costs to the region. In a common balancing area, shippers are obliged to pay for the locational balancing to the TSOs, while in a common tariff area, The shippers will have to take the transportation constraints into account in their own contracts. So what was done in this study was that we modeled the Baltic-Finnish market region with both common balancing area and common tariff area before and after 24, used a fixed set of input data, and then minimized the overall gas supply costs to the region to calculate the flows in the system. From these results, we then determined the main differences between the two models before and after 24. And before we have our coffee break, I will briefly go through the input assumptions and scenarios. You can find all this information in the full report as well. So as input, we used 3 fixed price scenarios, and as Marco already referred, that not every potential scenario was included here. And really the objective here was to somehow model the extreme cases, especially in the north-south and south-north direction. So this is the reason why we haven't included the scenario where Russian gas would be the cheapest and the alternatives, the more costly alternatives. The idea was really to emphasize the risk scenarios. So we had one price scenario with the highest import prices in Finland and the lowest in Lithuania, a second one with opposite price configuration, and a third one where Russian gas was priced the same in all Russian and Belarus entry points, and prices were set lower in the alternative entry points. In addition, we experimented on the shares of long-term agreements on Russian pipeline gas varying from 0 to 60% of the annual demand in each country. So regardless of what the price scenario is, we forced some entry from the Russian pipeline entry points in any case. We modeled all the scenarios with a transportation system that corresponds to the situation in 22 and in 24 after the changes in the capacities of Karksi and Kiemenai. And you can see the transportation capacities in the table on the right, and the negative values here just demonstrate the direction of the flow. We used 4 distinctive scenarios for national gas demands. These were derived from the actual data in 2019 and one hypothetical peak situation estimated as possible by the TSOs. These values are highlighted in the upper table on the right. And for the calculation of annual gas supply costs, we assumed a plus or minus 5% differential to the closest entry price of Russian gas as the cost of locational balancing. And this is something that could also be something different, but this is just an assumption that we used in this study. And as said, at this point we could have our coffee break. Mika, would you like to take the floor, please?
Yes, thank you very much, Leena. Do you have any questions at this point?
Yes, I think there is one question that doesn't really concern the flow modeling study, but shortly from Ain about greening the gas grid with biomethane and green hydrogen. On hydrogen side, we have started this cooperation between the 4 TSOs. Connexus is leading the initiative, so we are collecting currently questions regarding the technical issues in the gas grids, and during next year we will conduct study on hydrogen in the current gas grids in the area. So that's a short answer to that question.
Okay, I think it's time for a coffee break. then we could continue in 10 minutes. So 10 past 10, we will continue with the next presentation. Thank you. Yes, we could continue with the program. So, Elena, please.
Okay, thank you. So, welcome back. I hope you had a refreshing break. We will now continue with the results of the alternative market models. The first result is that a common balancing area would not be more beneficial than a common tariff area before 24 due to high risk for congestion in the system. The Kiemenai cross-border point would be heavily congested before the capacity investments in 24 if Lithuania was the lowest cost input route to the region. In the graph on the left, this is demonstrated as a function of the share of long-term agreements. The red bars signify the difference in gas supply costs between the common balancing area and common tariff area in favor of the common balancing area, whereas the yellow bars represent the cost of locational balancing. From this, it can be concluded that there would be a significant volume of locational balancing products being used by the TSOs. This potential large interference of the TSO in the market would be in itself be a reason to question the applicability of common balancing area before 24. In addition, there is no benefit from common balancing area in comparison to common tariff area with low shares of long-term agreements. So the green line here represents just the sum of the yellow and red bars. In the graph on the right, we have the results for a scenario where Finland would be the lowest cost import route. Here the situation would be even worse, since Baltic Connector would not physically allow Baltic countries to be supplied with gas mainly from Finland. So in conclusion, the costs and volume of locational balancing would outweigh the benefits of common balancing area when Lithuania was the lowest cost import route before 24. In the other price scenario, it is really a risk scenario that would have to be managed with additional measures going forward. After 24, the graph on the left looks quite different. With high rates of long-term agreements, there is no congestion. Even with low rates of long-term agreements, the situation remains controllable and financially even in favor of common balancing area. From the size of the yellow bars, you can see that the volume of gas bought and sold for locational balancing is small. The graph on the right, however, remains unchanged. This means that the risks for congestion in Baltic Connector in the direction from Finland to the Baltic states needs to be managed. This can be done by using capacity allocation in Baltic Connector, capacity products with restricted access from Imatra or Hamina to the Baltic countries, or by using locational balancing products, or a combination of the above three methods. And it should be also highlighted that we haven't included in these calculations any of the costs for market development. So these only describe the cost directly caused by entry and exit prices and the locational balancing costs. So these are not full-scale cost-benefit analysis results. So the results provide several alternatives for the next steps of market integration. You could go directly to a common tariff area. This requires a working inter-TSO compensation agreement, but delivers price convergence up to a level allowed by the physical constraints. The common tariff area would even work as a permanent model. Secondly, you could go directly to a common balancing area, although it would be risky before 24 as demonstrated in the previous modeling results. But in this case, you have to remind yourself that the results that we have presented here, they really represent the extremes. The reality is somewhere in between. Or, as the third option, you could focus solely on harmonization, either as a transitional step towards common balancing area or common tariff area, or as the long-term solution if common balancing area or common tariff area cannot be implemented, because both models require that there's a working inter-TSO compensation agreement. One of the most important findings of this study was that after 24, a common tariff area and common balancing area both would lead to the same gas supply costs due to no congestion. Given that common balancing area requires major changes, the implementation should lead to significant synergies in market management and simpler processes in comparison to common tariff area in order for the transition to be sensible. These costs have not so far been estimated by the TSOs, and many questions regarding their implementation still remain. So in terms of where we are now, we are somewhere in between steps 1 and 2 in the process for further market integration between the 4 countries. The essential question for going forward is your opinion on the preferable next steps. The questions are, firstly, do you see the benefits of a common balancing area in comparison to common tariff area so great that you would be willing to proceed with common balancing area already before or only after 24 the earliest? And if so, how would you like to be involved in the planning process? Secondly,
may I interrupt you? There is one question from Lauri Pirvala. What kind of long-term capacity estimate you used for the Baltic Connector transmission capacity direction of south to north?
Yeah, it was 80 gigawatt hours per day, both directions, all in the analysis that we made. So there was no specific development prognosis there. It was just used as a fixed value for both directions. Any other questions here?
Not at this time, so please continue.
Okay. So the second question would be that, would you rather see a common tariff area as the first step and then postpone the decision on a common balancing area until later? And the third question would be, if neither of the models, common balancing area or common tariff area, realizes in the short term, what would then be the areas of harmonization that you would like to proceed with? Harmonization in itself serves as a means to improve operational effectiveness already in the short term, and it may also help the potential transition to common balancing area or common tariff area later. Put in short, this was my last slide of the presentation. It's time for me to thank you for listening, and Mika, would you take the floor, please?
Yes, thank you, Elena. Do you have any questions? There is one question in the question box from Egert Lukas. And the question is, ITC is crucial for market integration. What is the state of the ITC negotiations? I would propose that the TSOs can comment on this. And Anni, you have opened your...
I can start then, please, colleagues, continue with your comments. So the situation with ITC, of course, we have ITC between Finland, Estonia, Latvia already in place. And in that sense, development towards a three-country balancing area is possible already from that point of view. ITC negotiations with Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania are still ongoing. So we are doing also modeling and trying to find out what kind of solution could be found so that the four countries really could form this tariff area together. So far, we have not been able to find a solution that is acceptable for all the four parties, and mainly the same reasons that have been discussed in several also customer information sessions. One is discount, and how discounts are set in different entry points. For example, in 22, when we will have Schiphol in place, we will have an LNG terminal in place in Lithuania. We will have a LNG terminal in place in Finland. And then we will have entry points from Russia. How would discounts in these points be set so that it would not be discriminating for any provider that brings gas to the area? Or do the discounts really benefit the market? Ambergrid can comment shortly. Next week, a Schiphol consultation will be provided to the market, which includes also these topics on the discounts. And if we were a common tariff area, there should be some kind of joint process in setting tariffs so that it really would be fair to the whole market, and also so that costs would be allocated in a fair manner. So we are still undergoing these investigations and negotiations in the same topics. In a way, nothing new to report from that side, except these new studies concerning Schiphol, and then we have consultant Artelis modeling also the market and tariffs as a joint study between the TSOs, which is undergoing, and that's maybe one point for a workshop where we could present these study results in more detail, so that also the market would be able to hear the results. But maybe other comments from other TSOs in this.
I would like to add up from the TSO, which is not yet in current ITC solution. And from Lithuanian side, we are really interested to have a solution which enhances this regional market functioning. And of course, making the having a tariff zone and making the cross-border tariffs at zero level provides a certain benefits. However, we have to achieve the result of this cooperation for Lithuania also as a net benefit. And the ITC solution which has been reached in Latvian, Estonian and Finnish tariff zone would constitute a very clear loss for Lithuania, which is a transit country and needs a certain compensation for this 100% discount of the tariffs. And we therefore need really thorough analysis together with other TSOs, which show that that ITC solution provides strikes a certain balance and it would be a fair solution to all participating countries. And eventually, well, it's important to state that the ITC solution also should be transparent and should be consulted with the markets. So once TSOs will have their initial work done, it should be brought up also for the opinion of market players and other stakeholders. And eventually, of course, the decision making finally will lie in the hands of regulatory bodies as well of those countries. And what concerns the tariffication of GIPL, so that before mentioned GIPL market survey would focus quite a lot on what tariffication would be beneficial for the market and what kind of discounts could be applied from the standard level of the tariffs, and it's important for us to have a certain estimation of the market players, how it would change the flows, the behavior from their side. And in addition, if there would be any thoughts, what could be the effects of having 100% discount on GIPL, so eventually the tariff zone solution with Poland. That's also very important to us to know from the very beginning. And of course, well, it should not be a very detailed and calculation-based estimation, but because of course final solution should be found after making quite extensive analysis comprising all the effects. But the initial feeling from the market players or their judgment how these changes could impact them is important to know. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, and maybe short comment also to this. So basically, also a question maybe towards you, market and market participants, that how would you like to go into more detail in this discussion and topic after we have had this consultation from GIPL, and maybe we could then have some kind of joint discussion in a webinar or workshop that would only cover kind of the current ITC model, also these discounts and also these studies that come up from this GIPL study. Because when we make these agreements, we have to really be sure that it's really beneficial for the whole area. So that always when there is compensation, someone pays. So if there is discount in one place and the cost goes to other markets, we end up in a situation where the gas users eventually may pay in increased tariffs. So we have to be sure that the solution really is beneficial for all the parties if we go into agreements that include some kind of compensation between the TSOs. So this is maybe also towards the market where you're listening and hearing. You can ask now or send feedback after this webinar that what kind of information you would need about this this process or these mechanisms in more detail for us to be able to make better decisions. Thank you.
Okay, I think that it would be good to organize the next poll at this stage, and this is also for all market participants. So I will just a moment. I will open it for you now. So the question is that what would you prefer as the next development steps based on your views and opinions, taking into account Lena's presentation about the flow scenarios, etc. So please give your views. At the same time, while answering this question, it would be very nice to hear also some comments or reasons behind your choices from market participant side. So if you could comment, it would be very nice to hear also.
And also, if it is difficult to answer this question now, also questions or comments from the market participants that what kind of information do you need more to be able to kind of answer these kind of questions. We have just now started this webinar series, and we have these two implemented in the 2 weeks, but we are willing to organize more to make also a better understanding for the market.
There are a few hands raised, so Romans, would you like to comment?
Yes, I would like to comment regarding the questionnaire as such and the topic of the common balancing zone that might be possible before 2024. I think we have to look into this question in a bit of perspective. At the moment, as all participants know, we have the premium market, which is a Finnish market, and then we have kind of normal or less premium market, which is the Latvian Estonian zone. And if we were gonna establish the single balancing zone, it of course would be great, but for those players who do not sell the gas to Finland, they will be actually punished because the traders will be kind of selling to gas to Finland and experience the imbalance, I don't know, due to the congestion, some other reasons. Cost will be split equally between all cap to the player who is to feel. We have this which one is less premium, and we have the capacity limitation. You already previously showed that the consumption in Finland is higher than capacity, and it will be higher than the capacity also for the I guess coming winters. So there we have this problem. A single balancing won't probably change it because of the multi-connector of charge at the moment. If we look at the similar things that there is premium market and less premium market, the cost is interconnect is basically the spread or at the. That's why I think that even common balancing area really make any we until the are either at the same on the supplier side or there is a charge for the connector, and then there is a normal and predictable how your flows Finland or from Finland to Latvia. At the moment, I don't think there is predicted, and that's why I think that this question is really hard without a certain comments to it.
Thank you, Romans, for your comments. Does someone else would like to comment on that, or do you have some other comments? I have shared the poll results now, so I just noticed that there is one question from Lauri Pirvola, that what is the current GIBL timetable estimate? So if Lithuanian colleague could answer this question, and then after that, I would give the floor to Yanis. But please, Ambergrid.
Yeah, the Gibble timetable is that in early 2022 there should be capacity already available for the market, and currently there is very active process of construction on Lithuanian side and Polish side, and we'll see how it goes. In Lithuania we see almost no risk for meeting this deadline. On Polish side, they started a bit later than we have done, and they split in order to move faster the overall pipeline length in 5 different contracts for construction. So they have lots of different contractors to work with, and we'll see how it goes. Of course, there are certain risks, including related ones to COVID, which you never know how will peak and influence certain companies. If there are outbreaks, somewhere in the employees of these, it could impact by some extent postponing certain works. But both companies are doing what they can to meet this timeline. And we discussed with Gas System that we'll see how it goes, and with this all the things related to COVID, and somewhere close to mid of next year we will do a clear communication to the market whether when the capacity will be started to be allocated, from which period on, and yeah, by that time we will be sure whether this initial deadline, so to start with the 2022 capacity, will be still in place, or there will be some slight delays. But yeah, we do not see any major obstacles in construction. However, a set of risk is in place. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, it seems that we have not one single option winning compared to other options. So we have 41% of the replies supporting establish a common balancing area before 2024, 21% after 2024. Then about half of the market participants in favor of establishing a common tariff area, either as a temporary or permanent solution. And then harmonization is also got quite a good percentage. So it would be extremely nice and valuable for us to hear some reasons behind the chosen opinions. So if we are able to get some comments from market participants side, it would be very nice. But I see that Yanis Skubanix has raised the hand. So do you have a question or something to comment?
Yes, this is Yanis from Connexus. I would like to mention that one thing that also should be considered is that there could be a third model. I mean, combination of those two, of common balancing zone and common tariff zone. What I mean is that you can still have a balancing zone, one market area, but applying still the restrictions of the technical restrictions of the flows. So you would still get keep the restrictions which we cannot deal with currently, but we would have the benefit of the whole area, market area, as one market. So I understand this well, presentation was made with extremes, so we understand that balancing, locational balancing is quite expensive, but I think there are possibilities to deal without it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yanis Kalais has raised the hand as well, so please.
Yes, hello everyone. I hope you hear me. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. First of all, thank you for this great event in these interesting times, and it's really useful for us as a trader to understand where the market is moving. And I, of course, have a couple of comments on what was discussed during the session. First of all, what we are looking now is more like something like space traveling when we are still sitting on a bicycle. And by this I mean that we have this kind of wonderful infrastructure object, Baltic connector, which took 1.5 years to build, to dig through rocks, lay the pipeline in the seabed and so on. And now it takes a year to install a compressor station, which is completely not understandable for me, and I guess also for many other participants today. Why is it taking so long, and what's the deal behind it? And that's why, referring to this and to the studies made, I think it would be useful also to make a study that the Baltic connector is operating on the 30 gigs or 40 gigs per day, not 80 gigs per day, because we have not experienced that, and it's really hard to imagine at the moment that it will be running at full capacity any time soon with what is happening with the Baltic connector at the moment. Then also what I wanted to point out is that having all these big infrastructure projects in place, have you also assessed all that in connection with the market, basically natural gas demand development? Because in my opinion, the markets are not expanding; they are rather shrinking. And have you assessed what will be the market size in 2030, and afterwards? Because as we see that many of the infrastructure projects will come online 2024, 25. So have you assessed what's the regional consumption? By this I mean, if aren't these infrastructures of too high of a scale for the market, because simply there might not be such a demand? And we know that the Finnish state is planning to go CO2 neutral. I think it's 2030 or something like that. So this will all affect the demand for the gas. And last but not least, also all these ideas, all these projects cost something, and some of them are EU financed, but all of them are partially financed by the local TSOs, and of course everyone wants to get the return on their investment. And it is also, I think, very important to assess how it will affect the competitiveness of the gas, because it's no secret that all that will be enrolled in the tariffs. At least I would assume that it would be done so. And then it's not only our business depends on the gas consumption, but also the business of TSO depends on how much gas is being transferred in the system. And each euro cent that you add to the cost of the megawatt hour decreases the competitiveness of gas against any other resource. And simply, I'm afraid that it can create some spiral where the increase in tariffs decreases the competitiveness of gas. More and more consumers decide to switch from gas to other fuels, which leads then to TSOs again raising the tariffs, and eventually we end up with empty pipelines. So yeah, those are, let's say, more some topics to think about when you are thinking about these all investments and how it would work. Also regarding the study, it would be interesting also to see different, let's say, some other price studies for the gas, but I think it was mentioned that it was kind of the extremes only were used, but maybe something more close and more real to the actual world. And yes, and while you are thinking about the balancing areas and joint transmission zones and so on, it would be useful to already also then start think about the responsibilities of the TSOs. One is what we just experienced 2 days ago, that TSO can publish a UMM, and that's fine, which actually damages the credibility of the Baltic connector. It creates huge risks of supply for the shippers, and last but not least, it affects the security of supply of Finland. So things like that have to be reconsidered, because I think the main goal of TSO is security of supply, that there are flows, that there are uninterrupted flows, and so on, and only then comes commerce. At the moment, I think the security of supply to Finland is endangered by the situation in Baltic connector. And yeah, so those are kind of short comments from my side. Thank you.
A short reply from the security of supply point of view, and then I will let maybe Ellerin comment on these compressor stations in Estonia side of Baltic connector. Security of supply in Finland has not once been in a way endangered. We have so much capacity from other sources, so in that sense we will have the gas all our customers need. So that's just something I want to say at this point, and it is really important. And you are correct, that is the one and most important task of the TSOs, to make sure that the gas users get the gas they need. So that's one point of view, and I can comment shortly on this common market vision. We have been starting to go through this gas use scenarios together with the TSOs, and I think that's one point, and also talking about the future regarding the whole market area, and how this gas consumption in the area will develop, but that's only still in quite initial stages. But what comes to compressor stations and situation of Baltic connector finalization and capacities after that, I will have let Erkki have the floor. Thank you.
Yeah, so reaction from Ellerin's side on the Baltic connector capacities communication. So the challenge for the DSOs is to strike a balance between early publishing of information and accurate publishing of information, as these are sort of we cannot achieve both at the same time, and also strike a balance on we have this uncertainty regarding the construction of the compressor stations. So by now it's clear that we have a challenge with the contractor of the compressor stations, and it is unknown at this point when the contractor will finish the works. So indeed, we understand that we may not have found the balance in the right way each time, but we are doing our best, and we'll try to improve on this communication of the Baltic connector capacities. Thank you.
Thank you. Kimmo Sierra has raised the hand, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Mika, can you hear me? Or can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Sorry, I mean, there has been some connection problems. I truly believe that the credibility of Baltic Connector is totally gone. And this is now something that the regulators needs to take actions of. We cannot be in a situation that there are promises and nothing happens. Communication way beyond that, and that's why it's an excellent thing.
The connection is relatively bad at the moment,
and therefore it's much more severe than just a delay on a pressure. Regulators to take action, common action now, to start doing something about this situation in Baltic Connector, because this is unacceptable for the Finnish gas users.
Okay, thank you, Kimmo, for your comment. The quality was not too good, but I think that most of the message was heard by us. Thanks. Any more comments or questions? Okay, I think it's time for the next poll now, and this can be answered by every one of you. So hoping to receive 100% respond rate for this. Okay. Thank you very much. And then the last question for all of you about this workshop before the information regarding next steps and feedback. So please give your views regarding this question. Okay, thank you very much for your feedback. We have now reached the feedback closing words part. So Anni, could you tell briefly about the next steps at this time?
Yep, shortly about next steps. So we will organize next seminar or webinar next Friday, where we will go more deeper into this common market area. What I have actually established during this meeting as that there is, even that these two webinars were supposed to focus mainly on this market integration topics, but actually I think there might be more need for the market to discuss market development and market topics in general. So one idea in my mind from this webinar was also this. I know we have our own separate shippers forums and own separate wholesale market forums, that maybe we could establish some kind of a joint market forum that would be organized a few times a year, also for general market topics, not only related to market integration. For example, these topics today concerning Baltic connector capacity, general capacity management, joint UMM platforms, it might be beneficial to have all the shippers and also big gas users in the area to discuss these topics. So that was one learning. The TSOs will, after this workshop, have a debriefing together how to develop the next one. We'll see that will be organized the next workshop in teams, so that it will be more transparent for everyone to see the questions or also asked. But let's look into that. And also as a reminder that after these workshops, these two workshops, we will organize a questionnaire or public consultation where all the market participants and gas users will have opportunity to put these thoughts in a written form that have been discussed today, and take more time to express ideas. And only after that we will start evaluating these answers based on these workshops and these questionnaires to really kind of form a roadmap for next steps in this market area and its development. And surely we will organize an event where we will go through these questionnaire and public consultation topics also with the market participants. But I think on behalf of all the TSOs organizing this workshop together, I can say thank you. It has been good comments, good questions, and I think more improvement to be done surely for all the TSOs. Thank you.
Thank you from my side as well. You will receive an invitation for the next webinar workshop, which will be next Friday. So you will receive an invitation soon. Thank you very much for your participation. Have an excellent weekend, and hopefully we will hear from you next Friday. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Thank you, Mika.